ain't going to get tired.
DDP beat Robert Whittaker, knocked him out.
But I understand that, but do we think, technically speaking, as a fighter, do we think DDP is better all around than Robert Whittaker?
Well, he knocked him out.
He's a better grappler, and he knocked him out. DDP is a better grappler than Robert Whittaker.
He's a better fighter.
And he knocked him out.
TJ Dillashaw warns Khamzat Chimaev could be doomed if he doesn't break in training, claiming Du Plessis will expose his weak cardio.
DDP, I trained with him. He's obviously gotten a lot better, I'm sure. But I trained with DDP for probably a year or two. When I was out in Florida. You know, I felt him. He's very tough.
Is he strong?
He's very tough, but he can go and he's composed. You know, Khamzat's he's got to be composed. You can't just if you go for the kill and you don't get it, then you get a dump. You can't have those dumps in the world title fight.
He needs to work on top end red line stuff because he goes for the kill and you can only do that for so long. You have to train that section, right? So
in a recent episode of the Jackson podcast, former UFC bantamweight champion TJ Dillashaw gave Khamzat Chimaev some valuable advice ahead of his highly anticipated UFC 319 title challenge against Dricus Du Plessis. Dillashaw, who has had his fair share of highs and lows inside the octagon, believes that Chimaev's path to victory will hinge not only on his skill set but also on the intensity of his preparation. According to Dillashaw, the Chechen fighter needs to push himself to the absolute limit in training, breaking his body and mind in practice to ensure that he can handle the pressure of a 5-round championship fight. TJ described how a fighter's body starts to produce lactic acid once the heart rate hits the red zone, which can cause fatigue and eventual breakdown.
Everyone's heart rate, right? You get into the red zone, you start producing lactic acid, you get tired. The only way to make that better is to be in that red zone for as long as possible and train to be there longer. Also get used to it mentally. If he can start training that, he should listen to Armin because Armin's doing it with Sam Calavita now. It'd be awesome if we can get Chimaev up there as well too. He would have, I would put a lot more money on Chimaev if he trains the right way for his cardio. If he doesn't train his cardio the right way, I think it's gonna be hard for him to put DDP away, and DDP's gonna get him in the later rounds and gas him out. That's my prediction.
Do we think DDP has better grappling and wrestling than Khamzat Chimaev?
No. Not grappling.
Meanwhile, Du Plessis himself is already laying the mental groundwork for what he expects to be a defining challenge. On social media, the South African middleweight sent a clear message, warning that facing him will be unlike any experience Chimaev has had before. The champion stressed that no matter how skilled or strong a fighter might be, when they step into the octagon with him, they will encounter a different kind of pressure.
We've seen him being as exhausted as anybody can be in a third round. This is a 5-rounder. Bring your first round. I am going to meet you in the middle and we are going to wrestle. We can wrestle that first round, the whole first round. And then we come out in that second round and we'll see what we feel like. And we can wrestle you have around a minute left in that second round. And then we're going to fight my fight. Then we're going to wrestle on my terms, and then we're going to strike on my terms.
Despite Du Plessis' confidence, former fighter and analyst Michael "Venom" Page took a more balanced view of the matchup. MVP acknowledged that Du Plessis has the momentum and championship aura on his side, but he ultimately favors Chimaev due to his athletic explosiveness and the unpredictability he brings to the cage. The way Chimaev can explode into action, covering ground quickly with his striking and grappling, makes him a dangerous force, particularly in the early rounds of a fight. If Chimaev is able to fight on his terms and push the pace aggressively, MVP suggested, he could very well finish the fight before it turns into a grueling battle.
I don't see anybody beating him.
I like Khamzat too. I think he's been really incredible.
Yeah, definitely. He looked better in the last fight. Obviously, it didn't last long, so we didn't get to see it, but normally he's like Crash Bandicoot the first round, and then his energy dips.
DDP has been interesting, though.
I feel like Dricus is very underrated for a belt holder here.
But that's the thing. If anybody was to, it would be Dricus, because that is the muscular endurance. If you look at like some of the fights nowadays, Mirab, Dricus, these guys that have the muscular endurance to be fighting at 7 the whole fight. So then you got someone like Mirab that's 7, 8 from start to finish, mate, that's difficult to deal with. And Dricus seems exactly the same. He's like 7, 8 the whole time. So if you don't kill him and get him out of there in that first round, second round, then you're gonna have a problem for the rest of the fight.
On the flip side, Ariel Helwani shared his perspective on how the fight might unfold. Helwani believes Du Plessis' best chance at victory comes from surviving the early storm that Chimaev is sure to bring. He suggested that while the first few rounds will likely favor the challenger, Du Plessis could use the later stages of the fight to analyze Chimaev's approach and adjust accordingly. The longer the fight goes, Helwani speculated, the better Du Plessis' chances, as the champion has proven that he can handle the grind of a 5-round war.
Now, which direction are you putting that now? Are you transferring that to DDP?
I think DDP figures it out. I think he takes him to deep water and he figures it out. And I think it's like a learning lesson for him and all this stuff.
I like it.
Yeah. Gentlemen, we've done a lot of shows today.
Luke Rockhold, a former UFC middleweight champion, offered another angle, explaining that while Chimaev's relentless pressure and aggressive wrestling are impressive, his success largely depends on whether he can dominate early. Rockhold believes that if Chimaev fails to gain control in the first few rounds, the momentum may swing in favor of Du Plessis, who thrives when fights extend into the later rounds. Rockhold's comments underscore the importance of pace and strategy in a fight as high stakes as this one, suggesting that Chimaev's best chance at victory lies in a quick, decisive finish.
The 2 times Khamzat went to a decision was when he couldn't get the finish in the first or second round, and that's when Gilbert Burns started to take over. That's when Kamaru Usman had a lot of success and settled the score, and it almost came out as a draw. And now it's not 3 rounds, it's 5 rounds, and the way that Khamzat Chimaev fights is the way that he fights. He ain't gonna change. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. When you lose fights, you say, well, I never really lost. It was a chance to learn. And that is true. When you do lose, you address some things. You address your preparation. You address your weight cut. You address your diets. You address all kinds of shit.
Darren Till, who has trained with both Chimaev and Du Plessis, weighed in with a more optimistic view for Chimaev. While Till acknowledged Du Plessis' toughness, he believes that Chimaev's pressure will be too much to handle. Till's unique insight into both fighters' skill sets has led him to favor Chimaev, but Sean Strickland, who has sparred extensively with Chimaev, took a different approach. Strickland, known for his unorthodox approach to striking and grappling, argued that training with elite wrestlers often gives a fighter the ability to neutralize a pressure-based game like Chimaev's.
If I went back to the UFC now, as the middleweight I could be, I'd fucking tear that Dricus' head off. Tell Dricus I said fuck him, by the way. The little fucking gobshite. Because I can't stand his guts, because he's so shit, he's so good.
You think he beats Khamzat, your boy?
No, look, I'm with respect, I'm never going to look past Dricus because he trains hard, he's super dedicated, he's super strong, and he's got that awkward style that doesn't make any sense. I think Khamzat will beat him inside the 2 rounds, I really do believe that. But look, Khamzat knows, I was speaking to Khamzat on the FaceTime the other day because I'm meant to be going out to Dubai to help with the camp. Khamzat knows it's a tough fight, but, you know, Khamzat trains like a beast. I do think Khamzat gets it in 2 rounds done. You know what I'm saying?
By the way, you're looking svelte. You're looking great. How much are you weighing right now?
Everyone's been saying that, you know, that I'm looking fabulous.
Yeah, you are.
Ariel, let's just go. Do I look fabulous?
I think you look fabulous. The teeth are just like blinding me. I wish I was wearing sunglasses right now, but you're looking fit. Way fitter than the last time, right?
Yeah.
I thought you were going to show me another thing there. It was getting very low, the camera. It was weird.
Whoa.
It was uncomfortable.
Whoa. Only my missus gets to see that. Don't be disrespectful.
Another fighter with close ties to both competitors, Ilia Taporia, also offered his insights, staying relatively neutral but giving Chimaev a slight edge. He acknowledged that the 2 fighters are evenly matched in many ways, with Du Plessis' ability to control pace and pressure standing out against Chimaev's aggressive style. However, Taporia leaned towards Chimaev due to his finishing instincts and his relentless forward momentum.
Ilia Taporia on Khamzat Chimaev versus Dricus Du Plessis fight. Ilia Taporia gave his opinion on the potential title fight between Khamzat Chimaev and Dricus Du Plessis. Taporia wished Chimaev and Du Plessis good luck as he is friends with both of them.
He's the man. He's a savage. He calls him his shots. He finishes his opponents. When he goes inside the octagon, you know that that guy goes for the finish. He's not looking for the decision. That's why I respect Khamzat. He's a fucking beast. So he deserves to fight for the title as soon as possible. We're gonna have an amazing fight because I love Dricus Du Plessis. He's a great human being. I have a great relationship with him. I have a great relationship with Khamzat also. But as a fan of mixed martial arts, it's gonna be a very exciting fight. I hope the best man wins, and I wish best of luck to both of them.
Coach Tim Welch, another insightful voice in the analysis, stressed the psychological aspect of this fight. He argued that Du Plessis' mental toughness could be a key factor in his success. While Chimaev is a physically dominant force, Welch pointed out that Du Plessis' ability to disrupt his rhythm and engage in mental warfare might be what tips the scales in the champion's favor. If Du Plessis can make Chimaev doubt his his approach, the fight could become a much grittier contest than the challenger anticipates.
I mean, I would love to see Khamzat versus Strickland too. Khamzat said in training, I submitted him multiple times. In a fight, it's a little different. And Strickland, you've seen Strickland get dumped before. He is an expert at getting up. He's really good wrestling, really good jiu-jitsu. But just like you said, can you survive the first fucking 3 minutes with that dude? Gnarly.
That's fire.
I miss the crazy Khamzat, but now that he's getting into these top 5 elite guys, I mean, it's probably better that he's not crazy Khamzat.
Dude, I mean, that looked like crazy Khamzat to me.
All week being respectful to press conferences, respectful of like everything.
Yeah.
It was a lot different than he used to be.
DDP has a way of poking at opponents too, though, so you might be able to pull that crazy Khamzat back out of him.
I'd love to see DDP beat him.
Michael Bisping, a former middleweight champion, added to the growing doubts about Chimaev's ability to handle a 5-round fight. While Bisping acknowledged Chimaev's early power and aggression, he expressed concerns over Chimaev's ability to maintain that pace in longer contests. In his analysis, Bisping pointed to Chimaev's past struggles in 3-round fights, particularly his bouts against Gilbert Burns and Kamaru Usman, as proof that the Chechen fighter can gas out when unable to secure an early finish.
The two best finishers in all of MMA right now, Tom Aspinall and Khamzat Chimaev. Khamzat 14 fights, 12 stoppages, 2 decisions, as I said earlier. And I'm telling you, he's going to try and finish Dricus Du Plessis straight away. And that's his best bet. Now, Dricus Du Plessis, this man's on fire, right? He's 23-2 overall. He's on an 11-fight win streak. He's got 10 wins in the UFC. And of course, this will be his 3rd title defense. He beat Sean Strickland by unanimous decision. He choked out Israel Adesanya in the 4th round. And he took the belt, as we know, in a close split decision victory over Sean Strickland way back at UFC 297. But they always say when you become the champion, you get 30% better. This man is improving all the time. He's got tremendous grappling of his own. If Khamzat Chimaev thinks that he's going to go out there and just take down Dricus Du Plessis and just choke him out, right, like he's some schmuck, like he doesn't know what he's doing, like he's not someone that choked out an entire black belt jiu-jitsu team one after the other, then I think Khamzat Chimaev will be in for a rude awakening.
Bisping also brought up the key difference between Chimaev and Du Plessis: stamina. Chimaev's cardio remains untested in a title fight, but Du Plessis has shown that he thrives in deep waters. He has the physical and mental strength to continue pressing forward even when the going gets tough, something that could spell trouble for Chimaev if he fails to close the fight early.
That went to a decision was when he couldn't get the finish in the 1st or 2nd round. And that's when Gilbert Burns started to take over. That's when Kamaru Usman had a lot of success and settled the score, and it almost came out as a draw. And now it's not 3 rounds, it's 5 rounds. And the way that Khamzat Chimaev fights is the way that he fights. He ain't gonna change. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. When you lose fights, you say, well, I never really lost. It was a chance to learn. And that is true. When you do lose, you address some things. You address your preparation. You address your weight cut. You address your diet. You address all kinds of shit that you might have been doing wrong. And one of those things might be that I address the fact that I don't pace myself. As I said, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. He's going to go full steam ahead. Khamzat Chimaev's going to go right at him. He ain't going to fuck about. He's going to swing for the fence. He's going to pick him up. He's going to try and slam him down. He's going to go berserk. He's going to go mental. And that's what we love about him. And that's why we can't wait to see this fight. But if he doesn't get him out of there in the 1st round or the 2nd round, and he's starting to gas come round 3, and round 4 and round 5, he is looking to be anywhere else but in the middle of the octagon in the United Center, right? Dricus Du Plessis is going to take over. And that man is a big, powerful son of a bitch. And he is a finisher as well.
Rainier de Ruyter, a rising star in the middleweight division, also predicted a late finish in favor of Du Plessis. De Ruyter believes that Chimaev will likely come out strong, perhaps even dominating the first few rounds with his explosive wrestling and top pressure. However, he sees Du Plessis as a fighter who gets stronger as the fight progresses. If the fight goes into the 4th and 5th rounds, de Ruyter predicts that Du Plessis will begin to take over, using his stamina and resilience to outlast Chimaev.
No, he's absolutely not. I know you've been asked a million times about like the Khamzat and Dricus fight, but now that we do have a date, like a location, all that kind of stuff, maybe you can talk about it in more real terms since we know when and where it's happening.
Yeah, it's August, and where is it?
Chicago.
Oh,
August 16th.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So apparently Khamzat can fight in the U.S.
Yeah, yeah. Now Trump is in office.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we talked about it before. Do you still feel Khamzat has the advantage there?
No, I think Dricus is gonna. I think Dricus will win. Yeah. I don't think Khamzat is gonna get him out of there early. And Dricus is a motherfucker, man. He keeps going. And every round, though it doesn't really look better, he looks better. His technique, he gets better every round. And I see Dricus like finishing him in the late rounds, like 4th round, 5th round, maybe, with a lot of volume. I see Khamzat maybe taking him down in the 1st, 2nd round, getting to his back, maybe. Yeah. I don't know. I think Dricus has a good shot.
Caio Borralho, another up-and-coming middleweight, acknowledged that Chimaev has a unique blend of skills that make him a difficult opponent to prepare for. His ability to mix relentless wrestling with unpredictable striking makes him a danger to anyone in the division, but Borralho warned that Du Plessis may have an edge due to his technical prowess. Borralho highlighted that Chimaev's rhythm and timing can be hard to defend, and Du Plessis will need more than just solid takedown defense to stay competitive.
I will say the 2 best finishers in all of MMA right now, Tom Aspinall and Khamzat Chimaev. Khamzat, 14 fights, 12 stoppages, 2 decisions, as I said earlier. And I'm telling you, he's going to try and finish Dricus Du Plessis straight away. And that's his best bet. Now, Dricus Du Plessis, this man's on fire, right? He's 23-2 overall. He's on an 11-fight win streak. He's got 10 wins in the UFC. And
Chael Sonnen also offered his perspective, suggesting that while Chimaev remains the favorite, Du Plessis is far from an underdog. Sonnen pointed out that Chimaev's wrestling-heavy game plan is not without flaws, especially when facing a seasoned grappler like Du Plessis. He emphasized the importance of the opening minutes of the fight, noting that if Du Plessis can avoid being taken down early, the fight could shift dramatically in his favor.
How is he going to beat him? Because I am not fully confident that Chimaev can take him down at will. I'm not fully confident he can keep him there. We're going to know in the very first round. If Dricus gets taken down in the first round, things are going to unravel very quickly. But if he can defend a takedown for the entire first 5 minutes, it's only going to get easier to stay on your feet after that. It's an exciting match. I would expect Chimaev to be the favorite.
Dominic Cruz weighed in, emphasizing Du Plessis' technical skills, particularly his ability to switch stances and maintain fluid footwork. Cruz noted that Du Plessis' composure under pressure could be a critical advantage against a fighter like Chimaev, who thrives on making his opponents break under the weight of his aggression.
Dricus. Yes. Man, I actually really like Dricus right now, the way he's looking. Like I said in the Schmo interview, he doesn't really stay on the center line. His striking and the stance switch really supports him in the rest of the takedown defense. Because as long as you don't sit right in front of a guy consistently, it's hard to get a hold of the legs and shoot on you. So he's also very big and strong. So I think he can challenge the strength of Chimaev in the first 2 rounds, which a lot of people haven't been able to rival. Just the strength alone has been too much, and I think Dricus is sturdy enough and big enough he can challenge it, but I will say I think it might be the toughest fight of his career so far.
Kamaru Usman, who has faced Chimaev in the past, praised the latter's top control and suffocating grappling style, but acknowledged that Du Plessis might present a different type of challenge. Usman believes that Du Plessis' toughness and mental resilience will make it difficult for Chimaev to impose his usual game plan. However, Usman refrained from picking a winner, as he recognizes that both fighters possess the skills to win.
Khamzat against Dricus or Sean, do you think he'd be the favorite against either of them?
I think he just takes him down, and like how he beat Usman, how he beat Joe Burns, I can see those sort of fights. I think he'd have more success with Strickland than Du Plessis. Du Plessis is like a big dude.
Demetrius Johnson offered a more technical analysis, suggesting that Du Plessis' striking and unpredictability on the feet could pose serious problems for Chimaev. Johnson recognized Chimaev's grappling dominance, but pointed out that the wrestler tends to fade in longer fights. He proposed that Du Plessis' ability to absorb damage and maintain pressure, combined with his striking versatility, could prove decisive if the fight reaches the championship rounds.
DDP, Khamzat. I go DDP. DDP. I think he'll survive the first round. Second round will be competitive. He might get taken down again, but I think he'll shoot in. I don't know, if I'm DDP, I'm shooting in on Chimaev. Okay. If he is getting taken down, he'd be like, I'm pulling guard. I'm not going to be cramped up against a cage. If you shoot early, we're in the center of the cage, I'm in guard. Yep. So I think he takes the center early, doesn't stuff it. Yep, flops right to his back, but it'll be so easy for Chimaev, whereas other people might put up a better sprawl. Yeah. So I think DDP round 4, round 3 TKO.
Jack Hermanson, who once grappled with Khamzat Chimaev, offered a balanced view on the upcoming fight. He recognized Chimaev's early round strength and pressure, but suggested that Dricus Du Plessis could turn the tide if he weathers the initial onslaught. Hermanson anticipated a tough and competitive battle rather than a one-sided affair, hinting that the fight's outcome may hinge on whether Du Plessis can drag Chimaev into the later rounds where fatigue might play a role.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be an amazing fight, and I think Khamzat is gonna pull it off. But I do think that, you know, especially early, I think it's gonna be tough for Dricus. But if he can push the fight into the later rounds, I think he can have an advantage. So it's going to be a really interesting one. But I'll bet my money on Khamzat in that one. But, you know, not like some people think that he's just going to run him over. But I think it's going to be a tough fight.
Yeah, I think so too. I think it's really interesting, especially like you said, if it goes into the later rounds. We've seen DDP go 5 rounds. I know he does look tired, right? Like he has this weird style where he kind of looks like he slows down, but he's going 5 rounds though, right? Like that's something that's kind of interesting. Where I don't believe Chimaev has before. So.
No, exactly, and we have seen like in the was it like the Burns and the Usman fight where he looks a little bit more tired in the later rounds. So yeah.
How was it? I know this was a couple of years ago, but how was it wrestling him, like just from the strength perspective? Because obviously he used to fight at 170, he's at 85 now, but I hear that he is very strong for the weight class. What was it like when you got to wrestle him that one time?
Nah, he's a really good, technical and super strong. You know, he looks like a tall, lanky guy, but he feels like a super strong guy. You know, he has amazing strength in his grips, and yeah, he's something special, you know. So it was.
In the end, the fight between Khamzat Chimaev and Dricus Du Plessis is shaping up to be one of the most anticipated matchups in recent UFC history. While many see Chimaev as the favorite due to his explosive power and wrestling, others point to Du Plessis' cardio, mental toughness, and ability to adapt as the factors that could lead him to victory. This fight is sure to be a war of attrition, with each fighter having the tools to break the other.